Hey, it's Latasha. Latasha who? I am Latasha, TV writer and producer, bringing you another new story. This time, I am talking about love. This story follows a Brooklyn pistol who's evaluating her journey of love between 1 out of 3 suitors and reviewing it on her podcast using the guidance of historical women from the past, such as Maya Angelou, Bell Hooks, Toni Morrison, to define a new way for today's women to go about love. But she is to discover that the cause and cure from her detachment of love is due to the estranged relationship with her mother, and therefore the title, She Loves Me Not. I want to say something brilliant, poignant, and timeless. This is for the lovers. If you are a fan of Love Jones, if you loved Barry Jenkins' Moonlight, that yearning but never quite getting or obtaining, yeah, we're playing right in there. And I've got a phenomenal team. I wrote it, my guy here, Tristan Taylor, directed it, my girl here, Brittany Janae, is gonna shoot it, and my guy here, Ade, is gonna produce it. Now, this is the moment where you guys have the power where you can get involved. So when you join this campaign, you will get a customized portrait of roses featuring your beautiful face. Or if you're a lover of film, Tristan is going to design a director's book with all of his show notes, shot lists, inspos, and of course, exclusive photos and videos from the cast and crew. So this is it. Join the She Loves Me Not crowdfunding campaign today. Pledge and make sure you follow us on all of our social media pages that you can find on Instagram, Facebook, and X, Twitter. So make sure you guys get involved today, and I'll see you on the internet.
Welcome to the She Loves Me Not live show. I am your host, Sequoia. I also host a podcast called Black People Love Paramore. Contrary to the title, it is not a podcast about the band Paramore. It's about the common and uncommon interests of Black people in order to help us feel more seen. This is a 4-part live series all about the love and promotion of the short film She Loves Me Not. So let's meet the team. First, we have Latasha, writer and creator. Latasha is an LA-based WGA drama and comedy writer whose stories favor invigorating characters who unearth emotional complexity in order to arise in renewed self-discovery. Latasha most recently developed with Netflix via their Created By initiative and was featured in The Hollywood Reporter and Variety for her induction into Mara Brock Akil's The Writers' Colony. Next, we have the director, Tristan Hill. Tristan Hill is an award-winning film director and writer from St. Louis, Missouri, whose passion lies in exploring stories of the Black community. Tristan has worked with diverse clientele such as Xbox, Black Lives Matter, and Netflix's Strong Black Lead, and also wrote Foxes, a short film that addresses depression amongst Black men. Foxes premiered on Blavity TV and Revolt TV while being recognized with several award wins. Finally, we have the producer, Ade. After graduating from Howard University School of Law in 2015, Ade began working as a regulatory attorney at a law firm, then transitioned into entertainment following the pandemic. Ade launched Runtime Studios to showcase the untold stories of Black people, which led to him producing the short film Good Day, as featured on Revolt's Short and Fresh HBCU segment. Good Day acquired many film festival laurels as well as won Best Short Film at the Bittersweet Story Invitational Festival.
What's up? Hello. Thank you so much, Sequoia, for those wonderful, wonderful introductions.
No problem. Of course.
What's going on?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
What an exciting night. I haven't streamed live on my own YouTube channel in 2 years. My very last video was P Valley. And so I miss my audience. I miss doing this. And even being back here, it all feels so strange, but it feels so familiar. But we are here tonight for an incredible cause. We are talking all about love because during my time in Mara Brock Akil's The Writers' Colony, I wrote a pilot about love. And so with the filmmakers that are involved in our short, Ade and Tristan, we thought to have a live conversation in promotion of, and we are also raising funds tonight for our Seed and Spark campaign. It's so important, you guys. The link is in the description box as well. We have raised about 60%. This is how much more we need to go. We're trying to raise $20,000 to go into production. That's camera, that's food for cast and crew, that's paying the cast, that's paying the crew. It costs money out here, y'all. So if you guys are entertained tonight, if you guys are having a good time with us tonight, please get involved with the campaign and join us on Seed and Spark. So we're talking about love. You guys want to jump in and say hi? Tristan.
What's up? Go ahead, Tristan.
What's up? Super happy to be here. This is kind of a reunion for me and Sequoia. We used to do a podcast called Questions Need Answers that we would do every week that talks about like relationships and kind of stuff too. So this is like really in that wheelhouse. So I'm excited to have her back. It's like my little sister.
Oh, cute.
I literally forgot we used to do that.
Yes.
And what's up, y'all? It's Ade here. This is like my first opportunity, first time doing a live stream like this. So I'm super nervous. Y'all bear with me. You know, I'm usually the person who likes to be behind the camera. So, you know, I'm happy to be here though, and really, you know, down to get into this, honestly. Let's talk about love, because there's been a lot of discussions on the socials recently about this. So happy to get into it.
Hell yeah. We're already getting some comments. These are my people here. Khaled, I said a Latasha and a BPLP crossover. What's up? Oh my gosh, these are my people. Trini boy, throw them hearts up in the chat for Latasha and the co-host. Thank you guys so much. Yes, some hearts up in the chat. We used to do this all the time during the dissection, so we got a whole mode going. But Sequoia is the incredible host this evening, so I will allow you to go ahead and take it away.
Okay, are y'all ready to get into this first topic? I'm very excited.
Absolutely.
All right. First topic, what is romance? So for a little bit of context, last week on Twitter, a debate formed because a woman tweeted that her boyfriend doesn't buy her flowers, but buys her items she needs before she realizes she needs them. What do y'all... We have a couple examples here of people's thoughts. What did y'all make of this trend going on Twitter?
I am usually not the Twitter debater. I let the tide of the conversations wash over me like a warm baptism, because I literally can't be bothered like at all. But I think when I saw this, love for me is about effort and intentionality. That's it. Like, even when I'm seeing the conversations about, let's take a walk on the first date because don't use me for the money. Like, let's just go get a coffee. Like, oh, my boy's having a kickback pull up as the first date. You lack effort. You lack intention. I, as the person that you're asking out, it is like a variable. Like, I don't matter. I don't exist at all. So when your partner is saying very clearly, this is what I like, this is what I want, and you're not doing that, you're doing something that makes sense to you. You're doing something that feels good to you. You're serving yourself in your partner's desires. That's lacking a certain intention and consideration and care and kindness. You know what I mean? Like, flowers at this point, everything is by the Apple Watch. Everything is by the mark of the devil. You could put a chip in your wrist, slide it across, whatever, and it'll be paid for on subscription. You wouldn't even have to look at the thing ever again. But what would happen is your partner would come home every Sunday evening to a new beautiful bouquet, and she would feel so good. And you're not doing it.
Well, yeah. Let me jump off of that point though, Latasha, because I agree, but I personally don't know whether or not that necessarily means that you lack intentionality. I think it's more so just a miscommunication about love, right? There's a lot of discussion recently about love languages, and you know, there was a book that was written, I don't even remember who the author was, but it talks about both, you know, I think it's like 4 or 5 love languages, and the ones that you prefer to give and then what you prefer to receive. And I think that there's a lot of miscommunication between couples about what that is, right? You believe and you want to receive love in a specific way, so it's natural for you to give love in that same way, not knowing or not thinking about the fact that, you know what, my partner doesn't necessarily want to receive love that way. Like, so for that example, that Twitter example, I think it was natural for the guy to be like, you know, it was an act of service. Like, I'm doing and handling all of this other type of stuff for my woman. That's how I'm showing love, because that's how I would want to receive love. But for her, you know, it's clearly like a gift. She wants to see flowers. She wants that type of care. That's the way that you you show love from that perspective. So I would say that it's more a lack of communication, lack of understanding, and lack of intentionality. That's the only thing that I add to that point.
Okay, come on, love languages.
I would say flowers are very cheap. It doesn't cost a lot to buy flowers. I feel like a lot of these answers I'm gonna get like text about my own past. It doesn't take a lot to buy flowers. Flowers is an easy thing to get somebody, but he wasn't. I agree with Ida. He wasn't intentional in like doing things for her that he deemed she needed. Like to me, refilling things before you know they run out. That's a big deal. As adults, we can get that all the time. It's mad times I'll be like going somewhere. I'm in the last piece of my deodorant. Gotta borrow my roommates. So I'm like, if somebody was like, "Oh, I already filled your deodorant. The new one is there," I would be like, "That's really dope." But also, if I wanted flowers, I know that I would want to see them at some point in time.
Yeah.
That's very fair. Can I have everybody's astrological signs just so I can have context as to why y'all think that? That's what I want to know.
I'm a Cancer. I was born in July.
Okay.
Not the face. What's the face for?
Cancer, Taurus.
I know, Tristan.
You know.
Yeah, I'm a Virgo Taurus.
Okay.
Yeah. I love how y'all rattle off all three, like just off grip. Like I feel like I know my other two at some point, but it's just not in the back of my head. I guess
it's all good. It's all good.
You're married now. You don't need to know it. I know it. I'm in the streets. You don't need to know it.
No, that's very fair. I was asking because I feel like that determines how we feel about practicality. So when it comes to a matter like this, and it's like, she wants flowers, but I'm doing things for her that she needs. Sometimes, a lot of Virgo placements will be like, yeah, no, I wanted you to do the thing that I needed you to do. But then here's Latasha being like, no, I want you to give me the flowers that I asked you to give me.
Like, what did I tell you to do?
What did I say, though, out of my mouth?
I don't see why I should give more notes when the notes I already gave are not being applied.
Come on, Beyonce. Period. Why would I make more? Why would I continue to make more? So, yeah, no, that definitely makes sense to me. Can we move on to the second one? Y'all ready to move on?
Well, these are they got some responses here. I feel bad for the flower lady. Not being romantic isn't an excuse for not getting your partner flowers, especially when you're aware of how much you desire them. That seems intentional. Another Twitter response said, I saw a girl say if she has to ask for flowers, she doesn't want them anymore. But that really goes for everything, whether it be love, attention, or appreciation, because it's no longer coming from you, it's coming from me. I don't really understand the ending on that one.
I'm not sure I understand that one either. Is he like trying to say that like the minute that you ask for it, it's no longer a gift or something? Or I don't know.
It feels like she's saying that you're doing it out of obligation. You're not doing it because you want to do it. You're doing it because I'm nagging you about not doing it.
Right.
True.
But you niggas be doing shit out of obligation.
Yeah, right. The desire for you to give into my ask is not coming from you, it's coming from me. And we also have some comments coming through. Look, what's up, Alexia? I love a little coffee date. Easy out. And if you like them, you keep the date moving to the next spot.
I am all big fan of the coffee date. I think a coffee date is a perfect little first joint for real.
I'm also a fan of the coffee date. It's a solid 30, 40 minutes. If you're not feeling it, you can lie and say you got to run to something and get out. Both people got to easy out. It's middle of the day, so it's not expected that, I paid for this. Are we going back to your place? We're going back to my place. It's very low stakes, and if it is popping, we can continue.
It's economical. Very economical, too.
And LA is expensive.
Efficient.
Low stakes.
Low stakes is important.
That don't sound sexy at all. Low stakes is so unsexy.
It is.
Not too much pressure.
Not too much pressure.
On the first. We're just getting to know each other.
Exactly.
Well, I feel like I've seen that a lot of guys are a little lazy in relationships these days. Trini boy, you know what I mean? Like,
I won't disagree with that. I feel like there does become a complacency, especially when you're like doing a bunch of first dates. After a while, you're like, I'm just shooting my shot type of thing. So I can see that. But I do still think there's a lot of misunderstandings and a lot of miscommunication, misgivings around that first date. I mean, that's the whole reason why there's Twitter debates about it in the first place. The first date, what's a real first date in and of itself, I feel like had became a whole conversation.
The title of this evening is "What is Romance?"
My fault. I got off on a tangent. You went to the comments.
Romance.
You went to the comments.
Now look, okay? Because what if we in the DMs at first, wherever we meet at, we in the DMs, we in the subway, we met at Starbucks, whatever had happened. But when you were speaking to me and we're getting to know each other, and I mentioned like, I love aquariums. See, now you don't have to do a $250, $400 date. You remembered I like aquarium, and you took me somewhere intentional. You put effort into seeing me happy. Like a coffee date, anybody, anywhere, just to be like, I don't know. I mean, we could just kick it and see what had happened.
That's funny because as soon as you said aquariums, I was like, damn, that shit in Long Beach. That's like an hour and a half from here.
God damn it.
But I guess it really is like, is romance reserved for people that you know somewhat?
I was gonna ask, like, so how do you? Go ahead, Drew.
So we got me and Adi got a line brother, Eddie, and he told, and his philosophy is, on the first date, I'm gonna see if I want to take you on the second one. On the second one, and I know that I'm fucking with you, I'm gonna do something extremely romantic there, because I'm gonna show you what I like to do in the city. I'm gonna show you what I enjoy. I'm gonna show you my safe spaces. And he was like, everybody don't deserve that on the first date, because I might not fuck with you no more after this hour and a half that we together. And now I got to see you in my spots, or I'm just giving you the best parts of me, and I don't know that I'm going to get that from you the second time. I don't know if that's always right, but I think that there's some validity to that.
So on both dates, the first and the second, we doing stuff that he want to do and not stuff that she want to do.
I heard you wasn't going to say. You know why?
Okay. The second one is because I've heard what you want to do and we match up. If what we like to do don't match up, we probably not going on the second one anyway.
Is that right? Okay.
Well, let me ask this. What my question was going to be, if you're trying to be romantic for the first date, how do you do that with somebody that you just met? Because where's the conversation happening necessarily where aquarium would come up? Typically, I feel like that would come up in the first date. So from my perspective, like the romance, it's hard to like even get to that part of romance without even getting to know the person, which is what these initial dates are for in the first place, right? So like that to me, in terms of intentionality and in terms of like approaching this in the best way, I do feel like there's a lot of pressure on that first date in a way that I just feel like it shouldn't be as much pressure when we're talking about just getting to know each other.
I agree with Adi.
That's fair.
Romance, you got it or you don't. Romantic people know how to make people feel important in general. You know the type.
You know the type.
I know when I don't feel important when I'm out with you.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, break that down a little bit. How do you know?
Because the first experience is generic. We just going through the la-di-da, the whoop-de-whoop. I have a very public social presence. Like, did you put effort and energy into knowing I specifically have Latasha here in front of me, and I would definitely do the same. Like, oh, I saw that you I saw that you like this X, Y, and Z. Those little moments are very important to me, like from jump. And I don't think like when I'm going out with someone that I think the way that you start with me is how I'm going to see the potential. If you're starting on some, my friend got a kickback, you want to pull up, I don't expect in 3 months he's going to be the suddenly amazing guy that I had to wait for. Like, I want to see the effort up top.
You know what's crazy? If I told you, my boy got a kickback, pull up, I'm really fucking, on the first date, I'm really fucking with you. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you definitely meeting a whole bunch of the like crew in that first situation. So it's interesting. Like, I see your point though, Latasha, because it's like that there's no there's no plan around just pull up to this kickback that I'm going to. So I get that. It's just interesting. I don't actually know a lot of fellas that's gonna just be like, come and kick it with me and my people the first time we met type of thing.
Yes.
That's heavy.
It also sounds miserable. Like I'm supposed to sit here with a bunch of people who I don't know and you who I barely know.
And somebody's gonna pull out a mixtape, and somebody's gonna start rapping.
Don't rap
Somebody's
at me.
got a talent, and one girl's too drunk.
Now I need to know where you going that niggas is putting on mixtapes.
A kickback gets real weird. You know, you do certain things in front of your friends. That's not like I'm trying to get to know this lady and she here, y'all.
Niggas is too comfortable. They sitting on the couch. They way too comfortable in a kickback setting. You can't.
Yeah, that would be. I think that would be like super funny to see. Cause I'm thinking about like I have a good amount of women friends. So being like, oh yeah, this joint that I got at the party, like I know that the question that they're gonna ask will be so much deeper than the question that like my homeboys would ask.
For sure.
So like it would just mean so much. If I brought you there, I'm really like trying to lock it in.
How interesting. How interesting. What makes it all good is the convo and the exploration. And we had a comment that said, like the panel said, there's a ton of miscommunication. It's always a battle between men and women instead of us listening. So that being said, Sequoia, would you please take us into our next topic?
Absolutely. So we've been talking about intentionality a lot. How can we be intentional about love? Bell Hooks described genuine love as a combination of care, commitment, trust, knowledge, responsibility, and respect. Do we think all fragments of the described love are realistic? First of all. And then secondly, should we compromise on the fullness of the love we give/receive? So let's start with that first one. Okay. Do we think all fragments of the described love are realistic? Those fragments, once again, are care, commitment, trust, knowledge, responsibility, and respect.
Well, you brought us to a beautiful moment, Sequoia. If I may take it
away. You was waiting for this. You've been waiting all week to get to this one question.
One question.
Ladies and gentlemen and babies, we are telling a story about love called She Loves Me Not. It is a pilot I developed last spring in Marlborough Hills, the Writers Colony, and Tristan and Ade and I are working very diligently along with our incredible director of photography, Brittany Janae, to make a short, a concept of the pilot. And what I just showed you was a piece of the script written, and it poses that question, what are all the tenets of love? So if you guys want to see this short film come to life, join us right now on Seed and Spark. We're doing pretty good. We are 60% funded, 62% funded. And in order to explore this question in our story, what are the fragments of love? Is it all too much from one person? Are we being intentional about love? What exactly is romance anyway? Join us on Seed and Spark and let our film explore it with you. These are the challenging questions that we are raising in this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful piece. So again, is this too much to ask of one person? Literally an excerpt from She Loves Me Not.
So what do you think? What's your answer to this? You wrote it, so
I don't think it's too much to ask, but again, we do have to be very attentive to effort, right? Like even when we love ourselves, even when we're taking care of ourselves, when you wake up in the morning, are you attuned to your spiritual health, your mental health, your emotional health, your professional health, your financial health? And when you start to break things down into tenets in this way, you're like, actually, I thought I was doing okay, but I'm actually slacking a little bit over here. I'm actually a little slacking over here. Seeing the love that I've been surrounded by friends and family, and the love that I have, or the romance or the sex that I've engaged in, they've never been quite full in all those areas. Either someone wasn't recognized, or someone wasn't being respected, or someone wasn't being listened to or seen, or something was amiss. Do you know what I mean? And so as we try to engage love in our generation and moving forward, how can we take action to allow love to be more full on both ends? Did I give all of these pieces to my partner? And I think when we see someone, we're attracted to them, we may want to sleep with them, we may want to date them, X, Y, and Z. But if we took those pieces and like been intentional about making sure that we're inputting those moments into love, it absolutely is doable. But have we done it?
I mean,
I think it's totally doable. I think that we hold it already in like platonic relationships with friends, and I think that what the quote is asking is probably the most realistic and honest version of it compared to, like this is romance that you're choosing to engage in versus being the love that you have for family members. This is the one where you can actually hold people accountable, and if they're not mean that you can leave, you're not obligated to stay around them. So I think it's definitely realistic. It's not easy to find, but when you find it, you found it. But we find it in friendships all the time, whether you have always had it and you know what it feels like, or you've never had it and you're searching for it, when it's not there.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, and I think that it's just putting language to expectations or commitments that you already have, whether, like Tristan was saying, in your platonic relationship or in a romantic one. All of it does, when people break up, it does come down to those factors that you just mentioned. But I think that the grace and the, well, let me say this. I think that like love is still a journey and not a destination in a lot of ways. So it's, even with all of those factors, it's about whether or not that person is continually trying to improve themselves in order to meet all of those things, and not whether or not they just met them. And I think that, a lot of times relationships are thrown away because they're not hitting all of these boxes, when really it's just a conversation about whether or not that person is being intentional about meeting all of these things along the way, type of thing.
And is that person being, let known that where they're failing yet also? Are you being vocal about that? I think back to like, and not to put our minutes out there, but I remember like Sequoia texted me one time and she was like, yo, you don't be checking in, you don't be responding. Away. And I was like, oh damn, somebody I care about is hurt by my communication. I need to do better. And like until that moment, I didn't know that was weighing on her, but that made me feel away immediately.
And when I tell you Tristan ain't missed a text message since, and that was years ago.
Sequoia, I was about to say, is that the way to do it? Tristan, I owe you a couple of texts, my guy.
I really do think so. Be direct, because yeah.
And that was intention and effort. And I've had that same conversation with a really close friend of mine. I was like, I really want you to call me more. Like, if I'm not picking up the phone, you're not picking up the phone. And I don't like that. Like, I want you to show up for me and with me in this way. And now we have a calendar date every month and we're going to call each other. Like, we had to just put in the effort, put in the attention, put in the care, time, all of that to say in these roundabout ways, I love you. You're very important to me. Your desires are important to me. Platonically, love comes in all forms. We can still show up for each other in these full ways. We got some comments, y'all. You cannot expect everything from one person. Oh, it takes a village. We're talking about community. And you cannot expect everything from one person. And I think with that Twitter tweet that we began with, that's where she compromised. I am not going to get flowers. I accept it. Mm-hmm. And it's valid. I think there is a tenet of her sort of giving up and, for lack of better words, settling for what she is getting. But if flowers have all of a sudden not become a big deal to that young lady because he fills it up somewhere else, I think that's valid. But there's also just a tiny little question of why he ain't doing a goddamn flower.
It's not hard. It's just not that hard.
It's not hard. You have another comment here. I think being reassured in each of the 5 tenets, a balance of responsibility in building trust, caring about being respected in all settings and situations, challenging, growing with knowledge.
That's a word, dude.
That's true.
Who is that?
It feels like that comment was speaking about the difference between love as a verb versus love as a noun. And love as a noun just isn't enough. Like you can love somebody with your heart is all you want, but if you are not practicing love with that person, it's not enough.
That's a word too, because love is a noun. It's like you either have it or you don't, and maybe you have it one day and maybe you don't, versus like kind of what we were talking about before, the actual action and intentionality and the work behind trying to stay in love with somebody, for sure. Yeah, I resonate with that a lot.
I have a question. Like, in your romantic relationships, where, and maybe you don't know right now, but where have you or where are you willing to compromise? Okay, like I'm not going to get that, and that's okay.
That's a good question.
This is a really good question. I would love to hear the men answer, because I feel like
I was trying to think it through.
I feel like yeah. Do y'all be compromised? I feel like men don't really be compromising that much in love with that. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know about that, Sequoia.
Yeah, I might be wrong.
We all compromise.
Correct
I feel
me.
like we all compromise.
I'm gonna let Adi lead it off.
You gonna let me lead?
Yeah.
Where would I compromise? I do think that we compromise, and I can't think of a specific like tenet where I'm like, I would say that I'm compromising, but I do think that we all compromise in the needs and wants in our relationship, especially if that need and that want is not like, again, top of mind for your partner. So for example, I can literally flip that Twitter example, right, and bring up a different example of like, as a guy, all I truly want in terms of like how you display love to me is that like when I walk in, you give me a hug and give me a kiss, and then you just leave me be for like a couple of hours because I need to decompress from the whatever. That's actually how I feel like you show love. Whereas for a partner that, may have a more of an attachment style to your relationship, that feels very, different and not in a way of showing love. So like, the compromise is an understanding that, your partner has a need in terms of connection, whereas you also have a need in terms of space. So like, there is compromise happening. Maybe it's like, instead of it being a couple of hours, it's like 30 minutes. Like, I just need 30 minutes of a little bit of space. This person said heavy on the piece. But that to me is like an example of, again, where compromise can happen in a relationship in terms of those needs, for sure.
That's fair. Okay.
See how you should have went first, Tristan?
I would say that being an adult and reevaluating my relationships, I think that I have failed on compromising a lot. I'm only child. I'm used to things being my way. I'm used to my schedule being for me, not really having to factor people in. And I think that that's something that I often struggle with keeping up doing. I feel like I have spurts where I'm doing really well, and then I fall into needing my me time. And I think that I don't do a great job of communicating, this is a day for me, this needs to be time for me to get back to refilling my own self, to then give energy to you, to give time to you. So I think that it's just something that I've noticed that I need to work on for the future.
And this is exactly the crossroads that our short film, She Loves Me Not, is raising, right? Like, there are a ton of gender politics in love. There are a ton of gender politics in romance. Women from little girls are taught to take care of babies, become mothers, become wives. How do we nurture? How do we cater? I've watched my Jamaican girlfriends, Haitian girlfriends, Caribbean girlfriends. You got to cook for your brother, cook for your father, make sure they clothes and stuff is ready. Like, we are socialized and groomed by society to be of service. So by the time we show up in love, we're like, what do you need? I'll do everything. You need your clothes ironed, X, Y, and Z. And then ladies are like, can I have flowers? No, I'm good. Oh, okay. And men are socialized in the gender dynamic to just simply exist. It is a pleasure for you, the woman, to simply have me. And they're not socialized to be partners, to be giving, to be empathetic, to be emotional, right? The only emotion they're allowed to show is anger, because that is a form of power. That men are socialized to approach love in a form of domination, individuality, and taking. So we're raising the questions of what is partnership? What are the tenets of love? What does romance look like? What does intentionality look like? And can we use the words of the brilliant Black writers from before us, Bell Hooks, Toni Morrison, Zora Neale Hurston? Like, can we use the philosophers, the Black philosophers who have ideated love and romance in Black community to help us curate a new journey of love in the era of red balloon popping. Do y'all hear me though? And so when men are not socialized to be partners, what is love between men and women when one is receiving and one is giving? And there's we're set up to start on an imbalance, and we can all be thoughtful and intentional and open our hearts up to see how are we giving to each other. So this is symbiotic. We are all working together.
Well, one thing I do want to add into that point though, not necessarily to disagree with what you said, because I do agree that there's a lot of like social mores or whatever that are pushing men into a certain role in relationships and women into a certain role. But we can't leave the fact that men are also socialized into being providers for their partner and providers for their family, and actively doing something in a way that provides support for their partner. So I don't want to shy away from the fact that, like, I don't think it's just men just being dragged along in the relationship, kind of like actively not doing anything. I think that there is very much a role in which that's socializing men to be very active in one area, in one arena. And that just doesn't necessarily translate in the type of romantic love that you would want to see. So from that perspective, like, there does need to be a communication and understanding and reframing of what love looks like and the actions of love around it. But I just for my fellas, I'm like, I can't leave that part of the conversation with at least putting that on the table as well, that there is an aspect of that that's happening.
Yeah, I was going to agree with the part of being socialized to be a partner, in the space of being a provider. Now, whether niggas are able to do that now or not, but also the stigma of not being able to do that is very heavy. So like niggas are dealing with that as well. So that thing of like not being able to fit all the spaces, like, you be tired, you be stressed out, and you concerned of like, if I'm not able to take care of her, I'm not able to provide in that aspect. Am I a man? Am I doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing to carry my weight? And that's hard. If you can't do it, or if you feel that you're failing at that, it's hard to be like, oh, I'm not able to take care of her. I don't make her feel protected. I don't make her feel safe. And then be able to still focus on doing all the other things when you're already failing at what a lot of us grow up with being the biggest part of making them feel special to begin with.
That's real. Okay.
Okay. There's a word floating around in this conversation. We're using the term generalization, and I want to talk about that real quick because I think what's being conflated is that there's a blanket statement being made about men when the verbiage that I'm using is you're being socialized, right? There is a social structure. There's a social order that we are all being made to abide by. And when women opt out of it, I'm not getting married. I don't want no man. I don't want no kids. It's like, whoa, what's up with her? If you meet a man that's like, I love women, I respect women, I want to be the best husband I can. I love it's like, that guy's a little like when you opt out of it, there's going to be a social consequence. So this is a historical issue. Gender politics is historical. It's global. It is a derivative of white supremacy and how we can all be products, essentially. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if women are the breeders and the cattle and the homemakers, how has that over centuries showed up into who we are today? How do we define ourselves as women? Same as men. If you're supposed to be back breaking, lift things up, put things down, either you money or you not, that comes from a historical context. So feminists don't sit around and make generalizations. Oh, men don't do stuff. All they got to do is bring. No, it's the politics of gender have been decided for us, and it is up to us to challenge those notions, change the rules when we're not happy. Men are much larger than providers and protectors. Women are much larger than wives and mothers. And what does that look like? We are in a new day, and those are the questions that we're raising in this piece.
For sure. No, there's a lot in this in this piece that's challenging a lot of those questions and social contracts, like social constructs, like you're mentioning. I think what's interesting to me, or what's been interesting to me lately, is a lot of people kind of engaging in the construct and saying that this construct actually works for me and my in the way that it happens in my household, whether that's based on gender roles or norms or what have you. And even for me, if I don't necessarily subscribe to it, I found myself in a place where now I'm like, okay, how do I make room for this other couple who feel like, as a woman I should not have to work, and as a man he needs to provide, and vice versa. As the man, I'm the head of the household, and she needs to support the family or be my right hand person or whatever. Like, I'm trying to get to a point of not necessarily judging that, because everybody's construct is different, and what works for them works for them. But I don't know if anybody got thoughts on that, because there's a lot of people who actually subscribe to a lot of what we're trying to debunk, let me say, or trying to get away from.
And thank you for saying that, because we're not debunking here. This is the perfect comment. We've got options. If you like staying home and being a mother and a wife, and you don't work, and your man do, and y'all love that shit,
good for you.
But do not look at somebody else who has opted out and been like, "What's wrong with y'all? Y'all ain't got it together." She's not a woman. He's not a man. This is where the social consequence of opting out. This is where we start to have conflict. So, yes, there are men who definitely prefer stay home. I got you, babe. Let me give you a little credit card allowance. Take care of my kids. I'll be home at 7. And that's great when there are other options allow and accept.
That sounds dope.
I was gonna say, I'm trying to be a kept man myself.
It's so funny. Like the idea sounds fire, because I'll listen to it, I'll be like, yeah, I also want somebody to take care of me.
The idea does.
Y'all do want y'all manny slid to the side. I've been noticing that.
Manny slid to the side is nuts.
I do want that.
With the cover and the back and the arch real quick in the back.
Hey,
baby, toot that butt up real quick. Let mama get in there. We got a comment, a very serious comment, y'all. Straighten up. I think about that conversation between Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin. Men give the world peace and give Black women the scraps. It's unacceptable for me. We have Anthony Jackson, who says, they say the English language is the hardest language to learn because of the rules of the English language, pronouns, verbiage. We're going to go back to another. Okay. I think about, we did this one already.
Have y'all seen that Nikki Giovanni video?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy it because I like how James Baldwin says he's lying to those people that he's giving peace to, and she's saying, "Well, you can lie to me." He said, "I can't. I don't want to."
Wait, hold on, Tristan, really quick. For folks who are watching that don't know the video, can you give a little kind of background breakdown of the conversation?
Nikki Giovanni is talking about the hardships it is of being a partner with someone who isn't giving enough in the relationship to her, isn't being open enough to her, isn't listening to her, isn't being a true partner, and isn't being
videos on our Instagram, by the way, if you guys
isn't being kind. And she references how James Baldwin, who is the representation of Black men, goes out into the world and doesn't cause problems at work, does all the things that he needs to do to get his job done, comes home, doesn't make an issue. And when he gets home and he unwinds and takes his clothes off, takes everything off for his day, all the issues of his day, and then go to his family and go to his partner. And she's saying that, like, I also don't want those issues. I want you to lie to me too. The same way that you're covering up the problems that you're dealing with when somebody tells you something at work that you don't like, you should come home and do the same thing. And he's saying that he doesn't want to. And I think about it a lot because I think about it in the terms of power dynamics. And it's a bit of anger displacement in where certain times, you deal with something where someone who's above you, being your boss or being whatever, at that time being the white man, tells you something and you can't retaliate. So the moment that you get to retaliate is usually someone who's dependent on you. we see this with sometimes with men in relationships or with women. We see it a ton in adults with relationships to their children. And then that's why a lot of times, parents will be like, I don't know why my kids don't fuck with me. And it's because this is what you did anger displacement their entire time growing up until the moment that they were strong enough to get away from you. And then you have to deal with those repercussions.
That was good.
It was a good recap, yeah.
That was a good recap, Tristan.
Yeah, like when you go out and you show the white man who hates you respect and kindness, but you come home to the woman who loves you, and I get all of your rage. That is not fair.
Mm-mm.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it was such an interesting conversation too, because I remember feeling like when watching it, I remember feeling like, yeah, of course, like home is safe. Home is where I take off my layers. Home is where I could be myself. I'm like fake all day. I'm literally, what's the word? What's the when you switching your code switching. I'm code switching all day around white people, and I'm literally putting on this face and like just taking it because I have no power. So when I get home, I want to be able to be honest and be like, I'm not happy. I'm pissed. I can't just put on a face. But it's so funny because Nikki Giovanni's response to it, like the way that Tristan, so eloquently like described it.
That's right.
Was like, okay. Here you go. Her response being like, you can't give me that type of peace. Equating it with peace was so interesting to me. Honestly, it was kind of a mind fuck because that's essentially what they're asking for. It's not necessarily to be fake, but it's like I also want peace with my partner. As much as I want you to take those layers off when you come home, like I also want you to be happy. Put a smile on your face, so it's not every time you walk in the house you're frowning towards your partner type of thing. So,
and I think what's even funny with that is even in the part of like I also want the peace too, is like at no point did that nigga get peace. He ain't had no peace at work. He coming home, he still got to put on, like there's been no point that he's gotten peace either.
Yeah.
Would it not be peaceful to come home and show your partner love, care, and respect? So now she doesn't complain. She welcomes you with open arms. And how was your day? I know I hate that man too. We gonna get up out of here, babe. Like, when the revolution starts, let's hit him first. Like, you got me. Like, you know what I mean? But if you come home, you're like, whatever, where's my dinner? Like, I'm be like, now wait a minute. See, now we gotta fight.
Mm-hmm.
What if you came home and we are both peaceful? Like
it's all in the balance.
It's all in the balance.
It is. Alexia had a really good comment that I was looking at that said, don't disempower yourself, Ade, when you were speaking. I feel like that's a really good point that is not touched on enough. While you can retaliate against your boss, you can. Everything has consequences. There will be consequences that you face for that. But in the same way that if you act an ass to your boss, if you go home and act an ass to your partner, there will be consequences for that too. So it depends on which consequences you feel the most comfortable assuming. For me personally, I'm going to assume the workplace consequences every time. I've done it in my personal life. I will continue doing that. I expect my man to do that same thing.
It's a little bit of a mindfuck thinking about that, because you're basically trying to encourage your partner to feel empowered in their space. Like, why are you allowing yourself to be so disempowered in the workplace? There's a lot of reasons behind that.
Of course, and they're valid. A lot of
factors and they're valid. But to your point, it's about consequences, like you said, to taking up that power, in the workplace versus, at home and what that looks like. And there's consequences for everything. So why are we completely avoiding the consequences at work is a good question for people of color generally, for Black people in particular, for men and women. Like it's interesting.
We have some really great comments happening. The problem is we drag every problem and emotion into everything else. It just piles up instead of being released.
Yeah.
There's another one that this crystal one that you see this one at the bottom.
Let's see. We scrolling through comments, y'all. Oh, let's see. The work you put in with your boss at work should be different than the work you put into your relationships. Relationships take work, but shouldn't be thought of the work of a 9-to-5 job.
Shouldn't be thought of as work. I think
as the work of a 9-to-5 job. In All About Love, I think one of the chapters that stood out to me that Bell Hooks brought up is bringing love into the workplace. And those are one of the things that we never think about. Like when we go to work, we're like dragging our feet, let's get this bread. I got to pay my rent. It's an obligation. And one of those intentionalities, how can I bring love into this place with my coworkers? We're also I'm seeing the conversations being adapted and being more popularized where people are showing up and being like, coworkers ain't my friends. I'm clocking in and clocking. Don't ask me what I did over the weekend. It's none of your business. Don't ask me about who. And it's just like, dang, y'all cold out here. Like, I like a little water cooler chatter. I like a little like, what's going on in your life? X, Y, and Z.
And it's also and it's funny that like the lack of, I think Black people struggle with that a lot, and that's a big part of like moving up in a position as well. Is water cooler chatter, being the nigga at work that they can just talk bullshit with. I think it's easier for men. I know it's definitely harder for women, for Black women to do, but that's where a lot of shit shakes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like being likable. Come on, don't do me like that. Being likable is very important.
I ain't trying to have no water cooler.
Don't do me.
Leave me alone. I just want to do my job and get home. Like, I'm with you, Alexi.
But it depends on the company as well. Like we got really lucky coming from BuzzFeed, where like the culture was shoot the shit with your friends, you know, and then we had a Slack channel that was dedicated just to the niggas, and I think that created such a camaraderie that I never felt like I had to go to work and be bored. You know, I was going to be with my friends, and we hung out after work, and we made things enjoyable for being there. We made work for us, and I think that's the thing to look for.
Is that the way when you say bringing love into the workplace? Is that how you mean, Latasha?
Yeah, it can be camaraderie. It can be being more intentional with the folks. It can be thinking about your work differently. Can you personalize it to where, can you change your mentality about I am a person who has to do this thing and I want to go home, to how can I allow this to be enjoyable? Now, if your job sucks, it sucks. AKA retail, somebody missed their check and you got to be the teller at the bank. Like there's some things that suck. But it's a self-help if you can reprogram your mind or reframe the experiences that you're having and say, what can I love about being in this space for the 8 to 10 hours I got to be here? Because you're draining yourself coming into it with the mentality of depletion and resentment and resistance. And those are just one of the spaces in your life. Think about how many hours, 40 hours a week. That's a lot of time of your life to not be experiencing joy, love, peace, X, Y, and Z. So even if it's something that you have to do, can you put love there? Like, I thought that was just one of those brilliant questions, something that you don't really think about. And I want to start employing that. We got one last topic because we're out of here. Y'all have been with us for this hour. Thank y'all so much. As y'all can see, we got the banner at the bottom. Join a campaign, join a campaign, join a campaign. She Loves Me Not to bring this wonderful short film to life. Sequoia, on you.
I think to that, there's a comment that I think is the breadwinner comment. I think is good about the whole work and love situation also, though.
Let's see. As the stereotypical breadwinner, do men have the privilege of jeopardizing their livelihoods in the workplace, which will inevitably affect their love lives should they lose that job when they do? I guess that was in reference to the consequences at work if you do go against the grain.
For me, I personally feel like partnership is just that. It's partnership. So in times when my partner is having a hard time at work, I expect myself to step up and help him out. In times that I'm having a hard time at work, I expect him to step up and help me out. And if that means financially for either of us, that's just what it means, because that's what partnership is for me.
And let's not pretend broke boys don't get no girls. There be some girl in the world will lay on that air mattress with you as it's deflating, bumping into the night.
Definitely.
There will be a lady there.
Definitely.
It's going to happen. All right. Yeah. Last fun topic that we got.
All right. Last topic. Where did we learn to love? What media? Did we get it from generational, lineage places?
Ooh, I want to go first.
Go ahead.
I blame Disney. Because y'all have shown me the best love in the world. I was ready to fight my daddy at 14 because I'm going to go be a human up out of the sea. I'm gonna go live with a beast because he's gonna turn into a nice man after he ravages and locks me in a cage. I'm gonna go flying on that magic carpet and get my man. F this gold and inheritance and royalty. It's me and the street rat to the death of me. You hear me? Like Disney turned us into such ride or dies, and that was my first instance on love. It's like the big princess sacrifice for this man that your dad ate. But baby, we up out of here. That was probably my first instance to love.
You had to get that off your chest.
I had to get it off your chest. I would say I got lucky to learn love. I hate to say this, but I got it from my friends. So like Adi being one of them. I got very lucky to see like the first text of like, yo, I'm talking to this new shorty. This is what her Instagram looks like. To being in people's weddings and like seeing like the good parts, hearing the bad parts, hearing like, yeah, this is fucked up, but we're gonna make it because I want to be here. So I got to see people who are my age like actually go through being partners versus just being head of household type of people. And I think that made me that made me believe in it more, but it made me learn more of like how to do it effectively to where I'm not just getting with somebody to be married to have a kid, so they just do the job for me. But, you know, I'm seeing them actually grow in love, seeing them learn how to love themselves at the same time, seeing them learn, you know, some of my friends go from being fuck boys to being really great husbands, really great partners, and really great parents.
It's interesting.
All my niggas are great, though.
I was gonna take your concept, what you mentioned, Latasha, and take it in a little different way, because I agree that there was a lot of romanticizing love from like film and media, but in terms of where I would say that I started learning love from, it was also from like what I saw on screen. But for me, it was you know, some of the black shows from the 90s where I was like, you know, the way Uncle Phil was married to and you know, showed love to Aunt Viv was like an example to me of like, oh wow, this is love. The way that Martin and Gina can like go from joning on each other to the point of like no return to like then just kicking it on the couch and watching TV. That was like an example of love to me. Same with like, you know, I mean I can name the show, whether it's A Different World with Whitley and Dwayne. Like for me, those were the examples that I tried to, or that I probably subconsciously learned from. Whether or not all of them were good or not is a different question, but that's what it was for me.
I remember the night Martin brought Gina to the park and it was snowing. Me and my mama was sitting on the couch, and when Brian Nick V. Knight came out, this is before we learned who he was as a person. And when that man came out and sang, and them beautiful black people just stared at each other for 4 minutes through the whole song. Baby, I want it all. I want it all. I want the love, the romance, the thoughtfulness, I want it all. Snowing, getting my perm messed up. You hear me?
That was a scene. That was definitely like an iconic black, you know, show love scene. Like the first Martin going down, you know, players anthem. It was just it definitely solidified all of that. But one really quick thing, and Sequoia, I want you to jump in on this too. Something that Alexia put in the comments was a lot of us didn't mention parents. And I think that's telling, to be honest. And I stand by what I said. I stand by what I said.
Without airing them out, because I wanted to stop by this comment too. I learned what love was not.
Ooh. That's what I would say too.
So, and that's just as educational. I do not want to engage in love in that way. That is being a generational curse breaker.
There you go.
That's on breaking them curses.
I think I did learn love from my parents. They were together until my dad died. But I don't know that I learned romance from my parents. They very much felt like life partners. They kind of coexisted. They worked well together, but it wasn't romantic at all. I did not see any romance. So I had to learn that from media for sure.
Same. The romance piece, you hit the nail on the head for me. Romance, definitely did not learn that from my parents.
They was just in survival mode. You go to work, we go to work, take care of the kids, divvy up the chores, pay the bill, and like I don't know that I've seen. Be here. We're going in and taking mom on a date. There's flowers coming to the house. There's a nice little jewelry or something. Yeah, never seen it, but it was just love because they have built a life together, and that brings us all back to the question: do she love me or do she love me not? Right here on Seed and Spark, y'all. We have raised 62%. We want to raise $20,000 to make our short film on Seed and Spark. Please head over right now. The link is trailing beneath me right now. Join our campaign. You guys get really cool gifts. We are doing rose portraits, these beautiful rose portraits that you guys get at the Frontier, literally called the Photograph. All of our gifts and tiers are named after Black romances. If Bill Street Can Talk, Love Jones, Love and Basketball. Tristan, our director, is making a director's binder. He's going to give the show notes and behind the scenes and the lookbook and shot list and all of that. If you're a film lover, we have really cool gifts. So if you guys want to join in, Ade is making a love playlist on Spotify. And because our lead character is a podcaster, it'll also include some podcasts about love. We've got a podcaster hosting here right now. Sequoia, tell them who you are.
I host a podcast called Black People Love Paramore. We actually do have an episode about dating and friendship. Those are two forms of love to me. So if you want to go check that out, check that out. But yeah.
Check that out. Black People Love Paramore. Which one of the white ladies is black? Is it Haley Williams or is the other black girl?
No, that's the black one. No, you're right. That's the black one. Haley Williams is in fact. Haley Jamaica Williams is the black one. Yes. Gotcha.
Well, we thank everyone for being here in this lovely, lovely. Oh my God. Well, I'm just going to post it because my ego requests it. Yeah, show me. Show me. Intentional effort. Show me.
I was going to say intense romance. Romance, Andrew. You heard what she said.
Right. Flowers, Andrew.
Thank you. He's been with me for so long. This has been the first episode of the She Loves Me Not live chat. We've got 3 more. This is a series of 4. We have a major guest on the 23rd. You hear me? We've got a major guest on the 23rd, so you don't want to miss it. Okay. Also, leave in the comments what topic y'all want us to do next week. Okay, leave it in the comments right now. What topic y'all wanted to do next week? Sequoia, thank you. Ade, thank you. Tristan, thank you. I'm Latasha. Subscribe to all of our channels. Subscribe to Sequoia. Subscribe to the JustLatasha YouTube channel. And we will see you next Monday, 6 p.m. PST. Join us on Seed and Spark. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all. Thank you.